Global happenings today. We communicate. We analyze global news.
The much-awaited outcome of today's court case between Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is finally out. Don't forget, as of yesterday, James Omotosho, the man in charge of this case in Abuja High Court, gave Mazi Nnamdi Kanu today as the last day. A lot of people had believed that his fate will be decided today, but interestingly, there's a courtroom twist, which you're going to see in a jiffy. Now, according to the news, the Federal High Court in Abuja has again given Biafra Nation agitator Mazi Nnamdi Kanu till November 7 to defend terrorism charges brought against him by the federal government or waive his right to do so. This is as Kanu stood his ground in open court on Wednesday, insisting that there were no valid terrorism charges against him and that he would offer no defense to the ones filed. Justice James Omotosho, who offered Kanu another opportunity, said he granted the fresh chance in the interest of justice both to the defendants and to the nation. At Wednesday proceeding, when Kanu was called to open his defense, he instead faulted the charges, insisting that he has nothing to defend under a repeal law. Rather than responding to the business of the day, he spent hours addressing the court on why the charges against him could not stand. Among other arguments, he said that the Supreme Court, in the judgment that ordered his trial, made it abundantly clear that the federal government must amend the charges because the one against him has been repealed. He said that up till now, the charges has not been amended by the prosecution, thereby violating the order by the Apex Court. Kanu persistently insisted that the refusal of the federal government to amend the charges was fatal to his trial, adding that no trial could hold under a repeal law. According to him, he says Terrorism Prevention and Prohibition Act has been repealed. I cannot put in defense under a repeal law. I won't do that. At this point, James Omotosho reminded him of the need to keep his gunpowder dry, but Kanu declined, maintaining that he has not seen any reason to open his defense in the instant charge. At the point, he agreed to open his defense, but said he would need to consult with his 4 legal consultants, his name, Naemeka Ejiofor, Aloy Jimako, Maxwell Okpara, and Mandela Umegorugu as his 4 legal consultants. Based on this, the judge repeated his plea to Kanu to consult his legal practitioner conversant with criminal laws to aid his defense. Earlier, counsel to the federal government, Adegboyega Awomolo, senior advocate of Nigeria, had requested the judge to stand on the order of the court that Kanu should open his defense or waive his right to do so. Justice Omotosho, however, said that he was inclined to bend backward again to give Kanu another opportunity to have everything to open his defense or forget it. That was the interesting scenario in court today, and it has triggered a lot of reactions by Nigerians. But however, it's good enough for us to also reconsider the position of most as lawyers about this. But first of all, one of his very esteemed lawyer, talking about Ejimako, also said 1 or 2 things about the position of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, addressing journalists after the court proceeding. This was the word by Ejimako. Ejimako said, "Take this to the bank. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is competent enough to defend himself, especially given the political element in the case, which he understands better than any lawyer." Anyways, the case is adjourned to 7th of November. Now, there are a lot of implications to this, and if you check our video, you're going to see some of the things we had discussed aforehand. But let's kind of reflect back at what actually happened to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. What were the actual charges brought up against him? Now, according to the 7-count charges under the Terrorism Prevention Act of 2011 or 2013, as amended, they said it included insisting or inciting violence via Radio Biafra broadcast, forming stroke managing IPOB as a terrorist organization, and the potential penalty for that will be life imprisonment or death if treason element upheld. That's what will happen. He's trying to come up with a position, and that position is that he cannot make defense with a repeal law. And I feel that that should be really, really considered, because that other law is no more longer in existence. There was a replacement for it. And if there was a replacement for it, then we should be talking about this whole thing being squashed and they kickstart another case. But I mean, it will be quite unfair to him, being that he has been in custody of DSS for as long as now. Now, what are the possible implications now that this has come up? Talking about the position of the court, extending it and still making demands that he should possibly consult. Now, one of it is that if Kanu skipped November 7, that's citing invalid charges, the court could proceed. That's the fear of most Nigerians. The court could proceed to judgment without defense. Likely, it may be a conviction as prosecution evidence stands unchallenged. There are prosecution evidence that they had presented, but he is saying that he cannot begin his defense, being that unfortunately the whole thing is still under repeal law. So that is really, really understood. But then if the court still insists and he's not ready to do or align with their demands, it might result to judgment without his defense, and that will not be good enough. But don't also forget that this will put so much pressure on Tinubu's administration, considering the fact that 2027 is on the way. So just imagine him being convicted right now. Southeast vote may likely not go to Bola Ahmed Tinubu, despite everything he has done. Don't forget that Nnamdi Kanu is very respected personality in the Southeast. And being a respected individual in the Southeast, you must treat with him with so much care. And I feel, this personal, I feel that this issue should be resolved amicably. In other words, should be resolved politically, considering the treatment meted out to other persons who have been in the same shoe like him. Some of them even did worse thing. Imagine someone like Sunday Igboho, see how his case was being treated, and they freed him at the end of the day. Police is not hunting after him and all of that. How about some of the repentant in quote Boko Haram the government gave them a lifeline. We even saw a situation whereby the government had to come into a peace deal with terrorists. All of that should kind of awaken something in the mind of this government. If truly they really want to see, the Nigeria still remaining a united country. If he had done anything wrong, far back 2021, when this whole thing saga started, by now he should be free. Haba, no matter what. It's staying for too long for me. It's kind of his human rights are being violated at this point. Because if you want to still deal with him based on the old law that had already been changed in 2022, it's not right. And that's why I love the fact that he's very insistent. He's still standing his ground, not ready, to give in and all of that. The federal government should think about the volatility that is in Southeast right now. Already we know that every Monday they sit at home. I don't know if it has changed right now because we've not heard so much about it as at now. But imagine him being convicted, or maybe it's been a case of life imprisonment, talking about the judgment, life imprisonment or death. It won't go well. So as a noun, we're still watching to see what will happen as we keep making progress. That's what we would like to leave it. Let's meet that conversation.